Welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and tonight we're going to predict the Tennessee Titans versus the Cincinnati Bobcats. No, I'm just kidding. The Cincinnati Bengals. I wonder how many people are actually going to be wearing the Boston Bobcats. I said Cincinnati Bobcats.
All right, do it again. Do it again. Let's.
Nah, I'm good.
We could time it perfect this time.
Nah, because that's too distracting.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good, but nonetheless. I'm not sure if you have any initial thoughts in terms of the game, or
I have initial thoughts.
What's that?
Take the under.
What's...
I think both teams struggle to score points, right? And the Bengals have a good defense, so I just feel like it's going to be a low-scoring game.
What's the total?
Total is 40.5.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So
you think both teams are going to score less than 20 points?
No. I think the total is going to be, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't know that both teams necessarily are going to score under 20, but at least one. How's that?
I guess I see where you're going with that. I feel like the offense, I feel like it's finally waking up, like basically hit its, well, not, I wouldn't say hit its stride. It really comes down to how many penalties they're going to have this week. Because that's really what slowed them down, like I said, in the first half this past game. Because that was one thing I kind of noticed, was that they had a lot of false starts, where there was like holding, or mainly false starts, really, and then key drops. But overall, I do feel like the offense had hit its stride, and I think it's going to kind of continue against that, or at least against the Tennessee Titans. Now, I don't necessarily see the Tennessee Titans scoring that much, kind of like what you're thinking, but at the same time, like, I feel like it could be one of those games where it ends up being closer than what it should be. Kind of like the Rams, I feel like, but at the same time, I feel like the Rams might actually be a better team than the Titans. I'm not sure if it's bold saying that, but the Rams actually kind of surprised me in terms of like how well they played versus, like, especially with some of their key people that they were missing. I know, like, their starting cornerback was out at the beginning of the year, and then Cooper Kupp hasn't really played any games. But outside of that, the Rams seemed like they had a pretty decent team. It was just, I feel like we just kept on shooting ourselves in the foot when it came to that last game. So I felt like it could have been a little bit more lopsided, and I feel like this is going to be one of those games where they kind of do what they should have done last game. But then again, it is kind of a quick turnaround, too.
Yeah. So Tennessee is the 29th highest scoring team in the NFL, tied for 29th. And the Bengals are the 28th. The Chicago Bears are scoring more points per game than the Bengals.
Yeah, but if you take out the first game, then what are the points looking like?
Still not good.
Well, we only scored 3 points in the first game.
Yeah, but I mean,
I just feel like the first game is kind of like an anomaly, and you kind of have to throw it out. I mean, you remember certain things, but so what? We scored 23 and 20, I think.
That's not how averages work. First of all,
right? But you're allowed to use your brain. I mean, you just can't assume everything is going to continue the way it is just because math says so, right?
They scored 24 and they scored 19.
Right.
So they would be like 22.
And that's what what we consider a dormant offense, right? So if they actually do what they're supposed to do, then we can potentially see them scoring 35, right? It's just like we want to see it. That's kind of why
24 would put them at Detroit, but Detroit scored 24 in all 3 games. So I just don't think it's fair comparison.
I think it's too early to kind of use these averages too. Like, there's only been 3 games.
So
I feel like it'd be more appropriate to use like points per game, like maybe at least halfway through the season. I don't know. I don't think the first game is indicative of like how we're going to play the rest of the year. I think, like I said, it was an anomaly. Like, we didn't do anything. Like, that's obviously
but I mean, the last game, the last game did not look good to me.
Well, what looked bad?
They had a lot of the score. They only
It was
scored 19.
right. It was 19-16, and we had a lot of penalties and.
Yeah, but they also got a lot of turnovers and a lot of short fields, and they turned those into field goals and not touchdowns. They're a team that's really struggling to score touchdowns, and so I don't have a lot of confidence in them scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's clearly where we're opposite because like I feel like they showed enough to where like they're trending up. Like I can see them continuing.
Well, I mean, their highest scoring game was 2 games ago, not last game. I don't know. I was really
but they
disappointed in the
kicked more
offense
field
last
goals
game.
though. Like they had more opportunities to actually score. It's just like you said, a lot of them turned into field goals instead of touchdowns. So like, if they can just play like they normally play, majority of those scores would have been touchdowns, not field goals, right? And that's where you get like the 30-point scores and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm with you. I feel more likely like the Bengals are going to score a higher 20s, and then I'm not too sure about the Titans. But then again, at the same time, like I feel like it could be one of those games where again we should do really well against them, and then for whatever reason they keep it close, type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in terms of predictions, I feel like mine is definitely gonna be higher than what it was the last week's because I know like I don't know, it just I tend to remember like maybe the better things, and I do understand that like there was a lot of things that slowed us down last week. But at the same time, like that game could have easily been 35 to like 6 had we actually been on top of our game.
I don't know. They're relying a lot on the past, so you know, they don't look dangerous. They're playing a lot like an overmatched team. You know, a lot of the try to get the ball in 2 seconds, dink and dunk. They don't look dangerous. I don't know. That's who they are, right? Till they do otherwise.
Yeah, but don't you
I
feel
mean,
like they match up
they
a
have a
little bit
lot
better
of
against the Titans than they would against like a fairly.
than the Rams. The Rams aren't good.
I don't know. I feel like the Rams are better than the Titans, and that's just my personal opinion. But
I mean, the Rams have like one elite defensive player, and then the rest of the guys are just
yeah, but I watched them play.
guys, right?
That's the difference. It's just like the Rams kept every game that they were in pretty competitive, and they played some really good teams. I don't see the same.
I don't remember who the Rams played. Let's see who they play.
They played San Francisco Bengals, and then whoever they beat in the first week. But I think a lot of people expected them to be 0-3 at the beginning of the season. I was the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks is a pretty decent team.
Yeah, I guess. Wait, yeah. So that's September 10th.
Yeah, and they scored 30.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like that's a lot has to do with Sean McVay and him knowing how to scheme up things. And I felt like that 49ers game was actually pretty competitive. Same thing with the Bengals game.
I don't know that this game was as competitive as the score looks. I think they scored right at the end of the game.
Who, the Rams?
Yeah, the 49ers.
Yeah, but wasn't
game.
it like a one-score game the majority of the game? I'm sure
No,
maybe
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was competitive. I think that they scored right at the end. But I don't remember. Splitting hairs. Let's look at the Titans. TENNESSEE. Hey, I did it. Oh.
Oh, they beat
So
the
the
Chargers.
Browns.
Okay.
They lost to the Browns 27-3.
Yeah, no, they lost to the Browns pretty convincingly. I was kind of watching
Well,
the
you got to
game.
throw that out, though, because it's against the Browns. So they scored 27 against the Chargers. and 15 against, or 16 against, or 15 against the Saints. Saints aren't very good.
I mean, do you understand why I don't consider the Browns game? Like, I understand you're being facetious, but I don't think you understand. Like,
Yeah.
no, you
No, I know
don't,
what you're
because like,
saying.
no, because it's like, I mean, do you really think the Bengals play like that? Are you like a Deftone fan? Are you like, or I just,
Deftone?
yeah, like you just don't pay attention. Like,
Oh, I mean, I pay
do you
attention to
really
what
think we
the
play like
Browns
that?
do.
I just don't understand. Like to me, I just
That's how
that's
they
not
played
how.
this year.
No, they
I
haven't.
mean,
The first game was way different than the second and third game. They weren't even close. Joe Burrow only had like 80 yards.
they
And
still haven't scored a touchdown. Have they scored a touchdown the first half this year?
no, but a lot of that has to do with penalties and turnovers.
That's who they are.
And they have scored a touchdown in the first half. One was a punt return.
Okay. Offense does not look dangerous to me.
But
All I'm
that's
saying.
like, but the sample sizing that you're looking at is like 3 games. Like you just,
Yeah.
you don't, there's no room for like growth. I feel like you see what you
I'm
see,
not
and this is
saying
what it's
there's
going to
not
be.
room for growth. I'm not saying how it's going to be, but I don't think they're going to suddenly be awesome this weekend. I think there are real problems with the team. I think that they don't have enough speed in the backfield, and they don't have a tight end that scares anybody. And until like they show that they're committed to throwing it to the tight end, or until they show that they can break off a big run, I think every team's going to play them the same. They're going to play a lot of coverage, and
If they play us the
you're
same,
gonna,
then it's going to end up like the Rams game. I mean, do you understand what happened in the Rams game? Is that
well,
they
assuming that
played
the Bengals
soft and we dinked and dunked, and once they got tired of playing soft, that's when we beat them deep. But also, like, you have to understand, like, Joe Burrow just can't throw it deep like we can. Like, there is no like. It's going to take time for that to happen, because like he's just not physically able to, or he just hasn't had those reps to get in sync with the receivers. Like, I don't know. I saw a lot of positive this past week to show that like they are headed in the right directions. It's just,
yeah, I didn't see it. I thought the offense looked sluggish, and it just,
but it only looks sluggish because of drops and really bad time penalties.
What about that pick?
The pick was a really good play by the defensive back. Like, it literally hit Boyd first.
There was negative separation on that play. Like the Rams corner was like sharing a jersey with Tyler Boyd. That's not concerning to you that there was like,
okay, so you're just gonna forget about like the other three first downs that Boyd got, like on third down? We're just gonna totally forget about that? Like that never happened?
No, I'm not forgetting about it. What do you mean?
I just think you just tend to only remember the bad plays, and you don't remember, like, you'll totally disregard the 10 positive plays, but you'll only remember the one bad play.
How many points did they score again? They scored 19 points.
Okay,
that's not good.
Yeah, you're looking at the glass is half empty, whereas I'm looking at the glass is half full, because it's like, yeah, they scored 19, and that's them not performing well. Not well, right? Just imagine if they actually played to what we think they can play. That's what I'm saying. Like, that should have been like a 35-point game.
I don't know how you see 35 points.
Because T. Higgins dropped several key passes, Dixon drives. There was several false starts that like killed drives. Like, it's little things like that. Like, we were well on the first drive. There should have been, like, to me, hands to the face or like a face mask on Tanner Hudson, because like right before we missed that field goal, it was like 3rd and like 3 or whatever, and like he tried to throw it to Tanner Hudson, but he got hit off the line and he fell over. It was like a miscue right there, but to me that should have been a flag, because he clearly got hit in the face.
Okay, so I mean, but what you're talking about is the type of things you talk about to a mediocre team. Is you say, well, if we played perfect and we didn't make mistakes, and
I don't know,
we get the calls. I mean, that it just speaks to mediocrity. And to me, it's just like, until they demonstrate that they can score, then I'm not going to expect them to score this year. You know?
I don't know. You sound exactly the way you sounded last year at this time. like almost identical.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's how I see it.
I guess that's fair. I mean, I feel like I'm the same way. That's kind of why I predicted the scores to be kind of low. But I also see where like I feel like they're about to turn it on, and it's just like
Yeah, and to
it's
be
not gonna be
fair,
like
like
that every week. I don't expect it every week,
I
but
thought they were going to score a lot more points, right? Because I thought that they were going to score 27, right? Instead, they scored 19. I mean, you know. So to me, it's just they're underperforming, but after 3 games of underperforming, you start to question whether or not it's underperforming or that's who they are. Because I think they have flaws. Like they're receiving, they have excellent receivers and they have a lot
right.
of depth at receiver. But teams are taking that away and they don't have a counter to it yet. Teams are
The Rams.
taking away the defense.
I keep feel like you're not the Rams. The Rams game showed us everything. That's exactly how it's going to be. If the people are if they're just going to play zone and play soft, it's going to be just like the Rams game. Whether it's going to be T Higgins or Jamar
19?
Chase, huh?
They're going to score 19.
No. You're making it seem like we don't know how to push the ball forward, but we were definitely moving the ball. We weren't capitalizing on those. A lot of like Jamar Chase had 12 catches for 140 something yards. We had plenty of opportunities to score. We just didn't capitalize. T Higgins gets called for offensive pass interference, which is like what? It's like things like that. Like you turn those around, like we're scoring big time. That's what I'm saying. Like I can see it.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, that again, that speaks of mediocrity. If you're just like, if the refs gave us the calls and we didn't make any get any penalties, then we would score. And it's just like, oh, that's how mediocre teams talk. If you're elite, it doesn't matter. You should still be able to put up some points. You should
No,
still be
it's
able to
just
score touchdowns.
it's just the reality of the situation. Like some weeks you're going to be a bit off.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Okay, but
Okay.
it just
So I'm
it feels
saying, like maybe they're not as good as they're missing
you're
balance in their
I
offense.
don't know. You're so funny to me. Like so you think the Miami Dolphins is going to be like this the rest of the year?
Do I think they're going to score 70 points again? Probably not. Do I think that they've shown themselves to be elite and dangerous? Yeah. I'm starting to think of them as like real contenders for
This is
the
exactly how
AFC
it was last year
Championship.
too. They were doing the same thing last year.
They weren't doing this good.
Well, no, because the 70 points is a bit, but I'm pretty sure they started pretty hot, and then Tua got hurt.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
don't know.
saying it's a
I
long
believe
season
that.
and a lot can change. I think it's too early.
Yeah, but I think it's too soon to expect them to just be good offense. To me, they're
Right,
like real
but you have to
issues.
see like the signs of them actually turning around, and I do. I just think
Yeah, and to me, the sign of them turning around is if they put Chase Brown in the backfield and he breaks off a 70-yard touchdown,
I just
and the
like
offense
you
starts
crack me
clicking.
up with that
I
because
think
like
it's personnel,
the running
or
backs
maybe
are
Irv
not what's
Smith
holding
comes
us back.
back
Like
and
literally, we're averaging almost like 5 yards a carry. Like
against
that
6-man boxes. People are daring us to run, and they're not scoring points. Scoring 19 points.
you're stuck in the 90s, man. Like it just running is not essential to the way we win. And the running game is not necessarily what's holding
Well,
us
they're 1
back,
and 2,
right?
so I don't know. I don't know. Dolphins ran the ball quite a bit.
Yeah, but we're not the Dolphins, and then
We should be. Okay, so we're not elite, right?
I can't believe you're calling the Dolphins
We're
elite.
scared of
That's the
their
craziest
offense.
thing to me. You're calling the Dolphins elite. What have the Dolphins won in the last 3 or 10 years? Literally, what have they won?
Who's living in the past now? Who's living
I
in the past now?
no, I'm living in the present.
This year is
It's
the
what
year
have
that
you done
matters.
for me recently? Like you can't just discredit
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
Who's the highest scoring team in the NFL right now?
I don't care
You don't care. Miami's
because it's
scoring
the
43
week
points a
4
game.
of the NFL. Like I'm smart enough to know that what we see right now is not what it's going to look like at the end of the year. Half of those teams that you see right there are not going to be there. Do I know which
Okay,
half of those teams are
Buffalo.
there? I have no clue. I can't predict
So
the future.
you think Buffalo scored in 30 points a year? They suck.
When did I say Buffalo sucks? I believe more in Buffalo than Miami because what has Miami have done in the last 5 years? Nothing.
Okay. So we know how you feel about Miami.
They suck.
The players on that team.
I never said they suck.
Then what are you saying about the Dolphins?
They haven't accomplished anything. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is a 17-game season, and you can't. Oh, I'm glad they scored 70 points, but those points are not. You can't spread them across several weeks.
You take away that game, they're still scoring 30 points a week.
Okay, fine, good for them.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So you're not even going to acknowledge that the Dolphins have a good offense.
But what does that have to do with the Bengals offense?
The Dolphins have a good running game. Is the point I'm making.
Okay, so what about their running game makes them so
really fast running backs?
So
and they're dangerous. It's not yards per carry. It's like danger.
But what other team does that?
I don't know. Buffalo has a decent running game, although Buffalo's more of a throwing team. But their quarterback runs, so they have that threat, which Joe Burrow can't do right now. San Francisco runs the heck out of the ball.
Yeah, but when did they score a 70-yard touchdown? Like you fantasize about like these huge running like that how does that make you a better team if someone scores a 70-yard touchdown? Like that doesn't make or break your team.
Because it adjusts the other team's defense. They have to respect your run game. They can't just drop everybody back into to stop you from moving the ball through the air because your running back can hurt them.
But we have Joe Burrow. Like it doesn't make sense. Like the pass game establishes the run game in the Cincinnati offense. Yes.
No.
Yeah, that's why he's throwing it 50 times a game.
Yeah.
It's because we were a pass first offense.
We're a pass only offense.
We're a pass first offense.
Not threatening. The running game is not threatening. Also, Seattle runs the ball a lot. Dallas runs the ball a lot. Philadelphia runs the ball a lot. But when you go through the list of the top offenses, most of them run it. Most of them have backs that you're afraid of.
And you don't think any teams are afraid of Joe Mixon? Like that's hilarious to me. Like,
I don't think so.
I know because you have like this weird bias against him.
I think I don't have a bias against him.
Well, you think he's worse than what he really is. Like, I'm not saying he's like.
What is he? In the ranking of running backs, how good is he in the NFL?
I'd say he's at least in the top 10 for sure.
Okay, yeah, there's no way, dude.
Yeah, if you take account of his receiving ability and his running ability, yes, he's 100% in the top 10.
I don't know about that. I think he's like.
Okay, well then who's better?
I'm just looking at this list. I would take both Mostert and A-Chain over Mixon. Buffalo, I think he's better than Buffalo's running backs. San Francisco, you got Christian McCaffrey. I would take McCaffrey over him. Seattle has Kenneth Walker. I would take Kenneth Walker. Dallas has Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's better. Chargers have.
He's not even playing.
Okay, well that guy's better than Mixon.
Eckler, if he's healthy.
Yeah, Austin Eckler.
I'd still take Mixon over Eckler just because of that.
I think Mixon's probably better than the backs in Philly. I like Aaron Jones better than Mixon. I would take.
You think Aaron Jones is faster than Mixon?
I think he's better. I think Pacheco's played better than Mixon as of late. Indianapolis is playing with their backup. I think Jerome Ford is better than Mixon. I think he would be a better back for the Bengals than Mixon. And for sure,
I would like to see Mixon behind their line.
He doesn't have the breakaway speed anymore. Detroit, I would for sure take their starting back over him. I wanted the Bengals to draft him this year. Can't remember his name though.
Gibbs?
Yeah, I think I like Gibbs better. Don't know anything about Arizona. Baltimore, I think Mixon's better than the backs in Baltimore. See, I don't know much about the players on a lot of these teams anymore. Atlanta, I take Bijan Robinson over him. Pittsburgh's back is better. New Orleans has Alvin Kamara. He's better. Tennessee has Henry. He's better. Giants have Saquon Barkley. Barkley's better. I don't know. Well, how many running backs I named? 15? So I put
Well,
them in
based
the
off your
15
opinion, but
range.
I'd say
That's my
like
opinion of it. But for the Bengals,
that, I
would be
mean that
better off
just
with
that's
someone-
like that's just proof that you think he's worse than what he really is. Like the
no.
list that you just went out down is proof.
Okay.
Like you're saying the rookie running back out of Miami is better than him? Like that's
Yeah.
that's crazy to me. I don't know. I'm still pretty optimistic. I like I agree they have to show it. Just can't talk about it, but I don't necessarily that seems like that's not saying that we're a mediocre team because we're not because we're just talking about it, right? It's just the reality of the situation. Like
Also, I think the NFL agrees with me about Mixon because he took a pay cut to come back.
that's not the
So-
NFL. That was that's the Bengals.
No, the NFL because he voluntarily took a pay cut to come back. I think if he was more in demand as a top 10 back, he wouldn't have taken the pay cut to come back.
But there was backs that
He was said,
just
cut me.
in general the backs are undervalued. That's like I don't think that's the same argument.
I don't know, man. Some spicy arguments, Josh. Eric, can you see the ads? I'm like getting nonstop McCormick ads. Sponsor
No,
us, McCormick. All right, so let's look at the gambling trend on Gambletron. So I wish they put days of the week because I can't keep track of what day it is.
that had to be
September
Monday.
27th. So what was Sunday? Sunday was the 24th. Okay.
Yeah. See, the 25th is a Monday.
So the Monday after, the Titans were slightly ahead in terms of betting, and then Bengals have kind of taken off. I wonder what happened on.
Because he was playing Monday night. Remember, they confirmed that he was actually playing. So like once they realized,
Gotcha. I forgot they played Monday. Jeez, this week.
yeah,
Okay, so it went way up, and then it's kind of come back down to where Bengals are slightly, well, a little bit more than slightly. Seems that the betting is indicating that the Bengals have a 57% win probability. Can't say that I disagree. I think I agree with that. So here you go. Here are the odds. So the Bengals are favored by 2.5. Over unders 40.5, but we can talk about that lately. So first TD score. I'm wondering what the props are for yardage if they have them on here. Pass yards, rush yards. Joe Mixon over under 53.5 yards, and Derrick Henry over under 68.5 yards. What does that say to you?
which seems pretty low to me for Derrick Henry.
What about for Joe Mixon? Since we're arguing about that,
I mean, that feels a bit right because like it's been what I'm saying is that we're a pass first offense.
so our top 10 running back is going to get 53 yards.
I think he'll get around 60 yards like what he's been doing, but like you seem to forget that like in those 60 yards, he still gets like half of his carries are for first downs. So like, yeah, it may not be like the 70-yard touchdowns that you're looking for or whatever. But he's still moving the chain, and they're meaningful yards.
I don't remember that.
I can remember like 5 offhand that he ran for first down.
Yeah.
He got that fourth in like 2
percentage. I wonder if it does that. Oh, that's how often do.
He ran a 14-yard touchdown that would have been a first down. He got like
Yeah, that was a good run.
He converted the 4th down conversion that was like a 2-yard conversion, which was like horrible blocking, by the way.
First downs per game. Miami 27.3 versus the Bengals. 14. So they're getting 15 first downs per game. 14.7. Hey, same as Tennessee. Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. It all goes back to like, I really do feel like they need to change their philosophy, and they need to start a lot sooner in the preseason, whatever that takes. I do understand, like, yeah, Joe Burrow and a lot of their key players, rest them, whatever, but the majority of players need to play. Like, this resting, like, I just feel like a lot of these things that we're stalling early now would have been resolved in the preseason had they just started earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard it from multiple players recently. Like, it does take a few games of the season to kind of like warm up. Because Chad Johnson was like, he really relied on preseason to kind of get his body into like game shape. He's like, because no matter what you do in practice, the games are always going to feel different. It's going to be way more intense.